talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants. So Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
And the pitch. High drive. Right center field. Going back to Veras. It is high. It is far. It is gone. Aaron Judge. A Judgian blast. Here comes the Judge. Line drive. It is a base hit to right field. Grisham rounds third. He will score. Beavers misplays the ball in right field. Judge rounds third. He will score. Going to third is Bellinger, and the Yankees lead by 10. Line drive to center field. It's a base hit for Dominguez. Bellinger scores. The Yankees pouring it on. They lead 12-1.
You a masochist? Jesus.
The team
Holy,
sucks. I don't know.
I'm aware of that. That doesn't mean we need to watch all
We got to
of
prove the
it.
point.
Holy
I couldn't decide.
Christ.
Should we have them giving up, pitching to the best player on the best hitter on the planet, or our outfield kicking the ball around, or the final hit? And
Hi. Good morning. It's Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
so I just threw them all in.
That was courtesy of the Yes Network. Where,
Good work over there, I think.
good Lord. Obviously, we want to recognize our man of the match. Our man of the match is It's Over.
Kelton Cowser drew a bases loaded walk.
Did. That's a thing that occurred.
So they scored their one run.
They scored one run. They did not have an RBI hit or ball put. F it. What do you want me to say here? Good God, does that suck. Jacob Calvin Meyer wrote about where the Orioles find themselves, the Baltimore Sun. He'll join us a little bit later on. Also coming up this morning, we'll meet new Ravens punter Ryan Eckley, and we will talk about the NCAA Tournament and more disappointment with very few area teams involved. Patrick Stevens will join us as he does every week. That's all on the way. There's nothing new for me to say that I couldn't have said yesterday. There's nothing unique about last night's game.
Well, we can bury Lou Trevino if we wanted, I guess.
Right, yeah, sure. The defense stunk. The pitching stunk. The offense stunk. That was the same as it was on Sunday. It was the same as it was on Saturday. It was the same as it was. Uniquely last night, how many innings did they have first and second and nobody out? And
Yeah, I mean, they grounded into a double
immediately
play,
grounded
every
into a
inning.
double play. Yeah. I guess that was semi-unique last night. But for the most part, nothing unique about last night. It's all the same stuff. I got a message from, and I know everybody was reacting to Bordy yesterday, and Bordy was certainly fired up. I know there was a lot of confirmation bias involved with why Bordy, I think, struck such a nerve with everybody, where it was like, hey, this is what I've been saying, but now you're smarter than me, and so I appreciate that you're saying it because it makes me feel smarter in the process. To be fair, I feel the same way, right? I am by no means a high expert level of baseball man, but Mike Bordick is. I got a message from Joe.
Joe who?
I don't know this Joe.
Oh, I thought you were saying me.
Oh, no.
I thought we were trying to do
I got a message
do a
from
bit.
Joe. This is somebody I did not know. A lot of people that found us, or found, whatever, they found the Bordick clip, and then I got a lot of responses. But this one was interesting from Joe. Joe said, Glenn went back and watched the show yesterday. Thanks for letting me know it wasn't like. Why did you feel the need to say went back and watched the show? Like normally I don't, but because I heard the Bordy clip.
Well, no, maybe he normally catches it live, and he said I
went back and watched the show yesterday and heard you saying it was too early to discuss Mike Elias's future. I feel like for a legitimate organization, it would not be. Take a look at the Boston Red Sox just a couple of weeks ago. Of course, it was too early to fire a manager, and to your point, what's really going to change? But they had to make the statement that this is unacceptable, and that was the exact point that the Orioles tried to make a year ago when they fired their manager. Firing Mike Elias wouldn't necessarily save the season, but at some point you have to know as a fan that ownership is paying attention, that ownership gives a rat's ass. And that's why I think you need to make decisions that perhaps seem rash and seem, I don't know what he's trying to say here, seem overwhelming? I mean, I guess, seem overwhelming. And it got me thinking, Joe, because that's what we do, right? And I always say that. The way that we operate is, step 1, fire blank. Step 2, step 3, win championship. And in that way, I always describe it as being perpetually boring, right? Like we're boring in that it's all we have. All we know to say is either the team won or it's time to fire blank. That's it. As a fan base, that's what we have. There is a lot of nuance in between those two things. I know what it is that you think you're saying, but as I said a year ago, I thought it was insane to fire Brandon Hyde when you did. Not because I didn't get it, not because I didn't understand that you were trying to say this is unacceptable. But it didn't actually solve the problem. If anything, it just created more of a problem. Because now you were creating a lame duck manager and a voice that meant nothing at all. Why would anybody involved with the Orioles have taken anything seriously from leadership from Memorial Day on last year, knowing that wasn't a real manager? With due respect to Tony Mansolino, it's not personal. It's just he wasn't the guy, and he wasn't going to be the guy. And that's sort of the point that I would bring up. Like, I understand the way that you feel about Mike Elias. But what is firing Mike Elias going to do unless you intend to hire a general manager, a full-time general manager, the next day? And your answer might be, well, that's exactly what they should do. They should go find their Dan Duquette. Go find someone who... That was my argument a year ago. If you're going to fire Brandon Hyde, it better be because you intend to hire a real manager the next day. Now, as I said that, I understood why that wasn't going to happen. Because that's not how you conduct a managerial search. You conduct a managerial search where everyone's a candidate, not just people that uniquely happen to be unemployed in that moment. Which is why you wouldn't want to hire a general manager. If you were to conduct that search right now, it would be very limited.
Just go see what Billy Beane's doing, or
I mean, Jim Bowden. I mean, that you'd be hiring a general manager who's unemployed. And by the way, there might be an argument for that. There was an argument for that last year, that you go find a manager who's just laying on the beach somewhere because they don't fit the way that baseball works in 2026, and you convince them that you're going to allow them to actually manage.
Buck Showalter, general manager.
You know, somebody along those lines.
Adam Jones.
But they were never going to do that. I mean, they just were never going to do that. The thing that's been pointed out by when I brought this up is, well, none of those guys, there's only one experienced manager that got a job last year, and that was Skip Schumacher, who we think was always in line to get that job, and you couldn't have had him. But does that mean that it made sense, that everyone's hire was logical and that they're all working out swimmingly? The reason you don't fire your general manager is because there's no point to it. It just creates more rudderless leadership. Now, you could say, hey, that's going to be the case no matter what. If things don't get better and you know you're going to fire a general manager at the end of the year, then that's rudderless too. But that's why you maybe wait to be certain of that before you make that decision. Like, you want to make that decision in August when you know it's dead, Dom. Then you do that. But right now, there's no benefit. It just makes somebody feel better about the fact that the team stinks. Yeah, but at least I got my pound of flesh. I understand the point of you want ownership. Like, this is constantly, we all want ownership to speak more. We all want ownership to say, hey, we get it. This has been a failure. And, like, I saw Buster Olney, who I think is going to join us tomorrow. I saw his tweet this morning. Like, the one thing you can say about the Orioles is their owners have made a lot of money. And I get it. Like, the fear that a lot of people have is that the owners just don't care. They don't give a rat's ass that for as much as we wanted to believe that David Rubenstein was hell-bent on, I'm at a certain age, I want to win a World Series, the hell with everything else, the answer might really be, yeah, don't forget he's a venture capitalist. Like, that's what he does. He's not wealthy because he just lit money on fire for the sake of it. He's wealthy because he figured out the best ways to make money and not really be concerned about what that did or what that meant to anybody else. And that's not a knock on David Rubenstein. Capitalism, baby. Like, this is what we do in this country. But I don't know. It might very well be that David Rubenstein really believes he is hell-bent in winning a World Series and just had an extraordinary amount of faith in Mike Elias that was based on 100-win season. And maybe he's starting to scratch his head and say, I don't know, maybe this guy, maybe we had too much faith in him. I don't know. But I understand the feeling of a fan base that says you want your ownership to say, hey, we recognize, we're with you, and this isn't okay by us. The argument would be, that's what they did a year ago, right? Like, a year ago, they fired the manager. That was where this isn't okay. We've got to be better. But it's not getting better. As I said yesterday, it's still a ways away from a point at which you stick a fork in them. I know everybody got worked up. We'll listen to it. Yesterday, Craig Albernaz, it wasn't a great answer, but I get what he's trying to say. It was a little bit deeper into
this was just the
part. Okay, just this part. Okay. This was Craig Albernaz yesterday. Being asked about the fans that feel like it's going south.
Offseason, you guys spoke of this team being capable of a deep playoff run, a World Series team. Are those expectations still reasonable for this group given the manner of play that you've seen?
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you want to jump ship, you can jump ship, but don't ask to come back on. That's it. Like, it's a long season.
And it's a bad answer. It is, but I also understand it. Like, it's very tricky for me. I understand that this is internal versus external. Internal, you're always going to create the us against the world mentality. Okay, you want to jump, go right ahead. But don't ask to come back on. Stop. Like, stop, man. Spare me. And that's not, it's not personal. I understand why Craig Albernaz feels that way. I do. That you always, in any group, you have to create that type of feeling. But it's just not legitimate. Legitimate is, I understand. I understand why people feel the way that they feel. We are of the belief that it's going to change. And who knows? Maybe they go down to Miami and sweep the Marlins this week. And there's no reason to feel like this team can beat anybody. I get it, but who knows? That's baseball. Again, the late, great John Sterling. That's baseball, Susan. That happens. And it's why it's still too early. Everything that you're feeling is legitimate because it was a disastrous week of baseball, an unmitigated, disastrous week of baseball. There were, I guess, 5 days, 6 games of 5 days, 5 games, because it was game 2 of the doubleheader. It was disastrous 5 days of baseball. But 5 days from now, we might feel something else. That is baseball. And as I keep trying to tell you, all of the big picture stuff that you feel, if this continues, it'll all have to be answered for. All of it. But that's the way a baseball season works. As awful as it feels in the moment, you have to let it play out. Have to. If there are individual things to do, and we'll talk about that with Jacob here in 1 second, like, do you send Kobe Mayo down? Like, you can do those things, those smaller things. But, like, fire the GM, it's just a conversation that doesn't make any sense on May 5th at all. It's nonsensical. If you want to say, hey, I'm really questioning the drafting, or I'm really questioning what it is they've been doing in the off seasons, those are legitimate conversations. But defaulting to, let's just fire the GM on May 5th, there is 0 point to that. None. Not today. That conversation can come if this continues, but not today. Orioles beat writer for the Baltimore Sun, Jacob Calvin Meyer, wrote today some analysis about where the Orioles find themselves after a disastrous 5 days. He joins us now here on GCR. Jacob, good morning. It's Glenn. Thank you for taking the time. Everybody's having a lot of fun, I can tell. Everybody's just having, Craig Abernathy seems like he's having a good time. It just seems like everybody's in a really good place mentally.
Yeah, listen, I mean, how can you not, this is how can you not be having fun when you're watching this baseball team lose by 29 runs in 4 games?
Right. You mentioned his pregame answer. I just brought this up, Jacob. It's weird for me because I understand this is how teams and organizations work. It's eternally us against the world, no matter what the circumstances are. It was the first time I felt like Craig Abernathy kind of missed the mark in a response. I thought like as far as playing all the right notes, he had played every note perfectly to this point. It was the first time it felt like some of what he's going through kind of got to him in sort of taking it out a little bit on the media or the fans. It's, all right, you want to jump? Go ahead and jump. No, there's a reason why everybody's frustrated, and he's got to know that that's a legitimate feeling.
Yeah, listen, this is a kind of an inside baseball or nuanced topic, I guess. I would say actually, I'd probably say Abernathy's first media mistake was a couple weeks ago when he said that this organization didn't used to care about defense, and now they do under his leadership, and then we're watching the product that they're putting on the field defensively. On top of the fact that we watched Brandon Hyde put Jorge Mateo in the lineup repeatedly because of his defense, much to everybody's chagrin, so I'm not really sure that one made sense. But to what he said yesterday pregame, just to let people in, I don't know if you played it on the show today, but this is basically Andy Koska from the Banner asked a great question to Abernathy, basically saying, hey, you guys said during spring training and in the offseason that this is a World Series caliber team with the play that you're seeing on the field. Do you still believe that? And I don't think Abernathy would disagree with what I'm about to say, which is that he likes to poke fun at people. He likes to poke fun at us in the media. We have a great relationship with him, and we poke fun at each other. And so this was a moment where I agree with you. Could he have used this as a way to give a really polished answer that would have made the fan base happy, perhaps? Although I don't think there's any answer.
I don't know if it make him happy, but yes, maybe right.
But instead, what he did was he was just making fun of Andy a little bit. To be honest, the quote was fully directed at the reporter, which is basically like, hey, you're sort of asking this fatalistic question in early May because of the fact that how poorly they're playing. And he's like, hey, if you want to jump ship, you can. That quote was not directed at the fan base, but I do understand why the fan base is understandably on edge, and why kind of every little thing is going to make people frustrated because of what they're seeing on the field.
Jacob, part of what you wrote today is sort of reflecting a little bit of what I've been feeling, which is everything is bad, but at the same time, like, all they can do is keep playing baseball and hope that it changes. And as I like to always go back, and not just because he passed away yesterday, but I always refer to John Sterling, and that's baseball, Susan. Like, as bad as it is today, and in all aspects, you point out the defense, the pitching's wretched, the offense has been an abomination. It is possible that 1 week from now, it just doesn't look the same. And that's sort of the difficult part about analyzing this. This was a horrid week, but I was over there. I saw you on Thursday, and in between games, the doubleheader, people were feeling quite a bit different in that moment,
Right.
and that was only 5 days ago. So it's tough to have analysis because immediately as a fan, everything goes to somebody, heads need to roll and bats need to be thrown, and maybe it'll get to that point. But on May 5th, unfortunately, the answer is, well, you just have to keep playing baseball and see what happens.
Yeah, listen, this season, the last time that they played this poorly in a series was in Pittsburgh. You know, they didn't play as poorly as this. It's difficult to play more poorly than they played this past weekend. And they responded from that of sweeping the White Sox. Now, that was the White Sox, and the team that they're about to play soon, the Marlins, are better than the White Sox, although maybe not by that much. And so, listen, if they take 2 of 3 from Miami, or they sweep Miami, things are going to feel a little bit different on Friday. But all we have right now is the stink coming off of this series. I also think it's important. I think there's been some revisionist history of the way last season went and how everything spiraled last year. Listen, they were awful from the start of last season, or basically 3 games into last season after they had that great opening day. However, it was not April that sunk their season. They were, I believe, 13-18 through 31 games last season. And then they went 2-10 over the next 2 weeks. They got swept in multiple doubleheaders. They were as lifeless as a baseball team could possibly be. So it wasn't the bad start that sunk the Orioles last season. It was the way that they responded to the bad start and the way that they were unable to kind of fight back. And the question for this team is if they are able to fight back the way that last year's team wasn't. Now, listen, they have a lot of new players. They brought in veteran players. They paid a lot of money for one veteran player in particular. They gave up a lot in a couple of trades to bring in some pieces. And you would hope that that would help sort of stem this tide a little bit. But it did not work this weekend. And so Albernaz talks about the cliche day one mentality. That is something that is uttered in every baseball clubhouse and has been for a century now. But if the day one mentality works in Miami, that's great. Why wasn't it able to work Saturday or Sunday or Monday in New York? And so I think we're seeing some worrying signs about this team and their ability to kind of not let things spiral. But I honestly do think the next 3 games, the next 10 games, are going to tell us a lot about this team.
He is Jacob Calvin Meyer from the Baltimore Sun, and we'll link up his piece on our Twitter account, @GlennClarkRadio, for you to check it out. Jacob, I guess the question becomes, what reason would there be for encouragement? Because, like as disastrous as it was on the field, Jackson Holliday is still only nearing like another rehab assignment, and Jordan Westburg maybe doesn't exist anymore. Like maybe he's not real. What reason might there be for encouragement other than just this is baseball?
Yeah, Jackson Holliday, third time might be the charm on the rehab assignment front. No, it's funny. I wrote a story Monday morning, I believe, shameless plug. It was like 4 reasons why it is time to panic and 4 reasons why it isn't time to panic. And one of the biggest reasons why I said it wasn't time to panic was, yeah, they've got injuries, but some of these guys are going to be back within the next 4 to 6 weeks. The main one was Jordan Westburg. That is obviously no longer the case. I don't need to remind anybody who listens to your show how important Jordan Westburg is to this team.
No question.
When he's in the lineup, when he's playing defense, And honestly, his presence in the clubhouse is something that is just perpetually missed because of how key he is to this team. People talk about leadership in a way where they want a rah-rah Ray Lewis type of guy, and I get that, but that's not Jordan Westbrook. You know what leadership is? It's going out every day and giving your team 4 good at-bats, day after day after day.
Doing your job.
Ward, Taylor Ward does that. I don't really know if anybody else on this team is doing that right now. Jordan Westbrook would be doing that if he was here. And so the fact that now his timeline is pushed back and there's a chance that we might not see him at all this season, there aren't really many good reasons to be optimistic considering that. Now, there are a few, right? This bullpen, despite how bad it was this past weekend, I do think, generally speaking, most people would look at this bullpen and say, hey, if they've got a lead, I'm pretty confident that they're not going to blow it. Alonso and Gunnar are not hitting up to their capability. I think most people would look at that and say, okay, there's probably some positive regression coming for both of those guys. Dean Kramer and Trevor Rogers should be back within the next 7 to 21 days or something thereabouts. That will massively help this team as well. And then the last thing is, aside from the fact that we just saw a Yankees team that is clearly the best in the American League, I think that's my biggest takeaway from this weekend is that, one, the Orioles have no chance of winning this division if they had one at all, and the Yankees might win 108 games. The silver lining here is that the rest of the American League is, as the kids would say, pretty mid. And so it might only take 84 to 86 wins to get a wild card spot, and so that's a positive note for the Orioles too.
Let me, just to follow up on, because you bring up Gunnar, and I think that's the one that's like most perplexing to me. And I say perplexing, Bordy and I were talking about it yesterday, and I'm as convinced as he is that like someone in his world has convinced him he needed to become more of a natural outcomes guy because that's how you get the big money now, is by putting up gaudy home run totals. And I say that I'm just spitballing, right? Like we haven't talked about it. I don't know that he's mentioned it at all, but I feel like that's the one that maybe is I just can't wrap my head around how different it seems to now be for Gunnar Henderson. And I know that part of this is that's just baseball, and I'm an old man, and Bordy's an old man, and we're yelling at clouds, but it just feels like actively guys are worse baseball players, and he's the next in the line of just sort of selling out to try to hit a boatload of home runs.
Yeah, it was funny. Obviously, I was one of the millions of people that heard Bordy's rant yesterday on your show.
I mean, he was on fire.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that Bordy has more baseball knowledge in his pinky than
all of us,
right?
Body. Yeah, all of us.
It's funny. Maybe Gunnar was one of the people that listened because he hit, if I remember, hit 2 singles in each of his first 2 at-bats.
I did notice in his first at-bat, I was like, wow, that's the guy. Where's that?
Yeah. No, listen, I don't want to speculate about the reasons why we're seeing this. Listen, all players have people in their camp kind of saying, hey, if you do this, it'll help you, make X, whatever. I will say, in today's game, what helps you get a big payday is being an all-around great player, and that includes being a plus defender, right? Bobby Witt got all the money he got because he showed, in large part, because he could be a plus defender, and we haven't exactly seen that from Gunnar at shortstop. And I can just tell you, Gunnar works his butt off behind the scenes defensively to be better at shortstop, not just because he cares about it, not just because it's good for the team, but probably because he knows that his future payday is dependent on how well he can play shortstop defensively in the long term. Now, when it comes to his offensive profile right now, it is a little strange because last season he wasn't hitting home runs at all, probably partially due to the impingement that he had in his shoulder. So I think the most logical answer here is probably that Gunnar felt really healthy coming into the season for the first time in a little while, and he went, hey, I can probably marry the contact that I showed last year with the power that I showed in 24, and perhaps he went a little bit too far in the power direction. And so I think he's striking out about 30 to 31% of the time right now. In his career before this, he was striking out like 22%. It's probably going to land somewhere in the middle as the season progresses. But it goes back to what I said earlier about Westberg, which is that, again, to repeat it, leadership is giving your team 4 quality at-bats a day. Mm-hmm. And as great as Gunnar Henderson is of a player, and I think all of us believe that, through the first 5 weeks of the season, we haven't really seen that. And he needs to get back to that. Pete needs to get back to that. And I think everybody believes that that's going to be the case. It's just, you know what the best day to start doing that is? Today in Miami.
Right. Well, it might have been yesterday, but I get it. I exactly understand. I mentioned the throwing of the bats, right? It's the thing that we always, old guys always reference about managers in the past. Those days are over, right? Like, you don't hire managers like that. You're not supposed to act like that. Right. It's unprofessional. You're not going to do that. But is there a world where they could be something else? And whether that, I brought it up with Mike yesterday, but I get it. These aren't decisions that Craig Abernathy can make on his own, and someone would say he can't make it all. But is there a world where between he and the front office, there could be a shakeup? A lot of people have brought up the idea of just releasing Tyler O'Neill, and I say I get what you're thinking, but that just for what? Like, who's going to play and who's earned that? Is there anything that they could do to try to shake things up a little bit and loudly say, hey, this isn't okay, and we can't fire the manager like we did a year ago, so we got to try to find something else we can do to get everybody's attention?
Yeah, it's funny because I think you and I might agree here, which is that not people see inaction as inherently a negative when inaction is in and of itself an action. Mm-hmm. And that it might be true that inaction could subconsciously send a message to the team of sort of a passive, hey, everything is fine, we'll be okay, it's early. I was sort of saying last year, late April, early May, that, I wasn't saying this publicly, to be clear, that they should probably just cut Charlie Morton for the same purposes that you just said. I found it to be quite absurd that they fired Brandon Hyde, who was at approximately 0.001% fault for the team last season, right, on May 17th, and then the next 2 days were started by Kyle Gibson and Charlie Morton. The irony
go get him, boys.
The irony there was incredible. Yeah. So with that said, it would have been the wrong decision to cut Charlie Morton. I mean, we know what he did over the next 2 months. He pitched pretty well for the team. If they had any life left in them and had a chance, he would have contributed to that. And then he got them a pretty solid, nice little prospect in a trade. And so I don't think – I understand why people view this as, hey, let's shake something up. Let's send a message to the clubhouse. These guys are on a day-to-day basis are in a crazy pressurized environment. They see the hate that they get on social media. They see it in their DMs from the gamblers and all those people. And then on top of that, they have to go out and hit Cam Schlittler and these nasty guys that the Yankees are throwing out of the pen. They have enough pressure on them where I don't think cutting Tyler O'Neill is going to make anybody in there go. It's not, cutting Tyler O'Neill is not going to make Kobe Mayo hit better.
Yeah, right. Now okay. I know I've got to perform, right? Like now. Yeah, like, before today, I didn't think that I needed to be good, but now I think I might need to be good.
And so it's funny. I see a lot of criticism of Mike Elias, and with the way the team's playing, all of the criticism
it's fair. Right.
is fair.
Yep.
But if you look at what they did over the offseason, they did quite a lot, and they took a lot of big risks over the offseason. Some of them aren't paying off right now. But if this team ends up being bad again, and then they're bad next year, and then however long they're bad it takes for there to be a change made, the post-mortem, if that's the way that this goes, is not going to be about off-season failures or bad decisions in the off-season. It is going to be about the fact that this young core is not as good as we thought they were. And I'm not saying that's the case. But if they continue playing this way, if they win 75 games again, that is the answer. The answer is, in 2023 they had the best young core in baseball, and 75% of those guys ended up being worse than what we thought they would be.
You can't argue it. Not at the moment. Like, it is just not. There's not a lot of returns right now from that group. That's today, and that can change in a hurry. But that's the reality. Of course, at Jacob Calvin Meyer. That's how you follow him. Baltimore Sun, BaltimoreSun.com to check out today's piece. Jacob, anything else I can plug for you, man?
No, that's it. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to come on. I do have to note really quick. So at the Sun, I have a beat partner, as you guys know, Matt Wyrick.
Yep.
We cover the team together. The team when I am in attendance is 10-19.
Oh boy.
When Matt is in attendance, they are 13-8.
Wait, so are you in Miami or is he in Miami?
Rest assured, everybody, I am not in Miami.
There we go. I'm sure that there is someone in the organization that is very aware of that stat and has probably reminded you of that at some point. Said, stay away.
Listen, David Rubenstein, if you wanna give me a year of paid leave,
stay away. Stay away, right?
Paid leave.
Yeah.
If you want to give me a year of paid leave, it would be approximately 0.00001% of your net
wealth.
worth.
Yeah, no doubt.
I will gladly take it.
No doubt, man. Jacob, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hopping on. Let's talk again soon, all right?
Thanks, man.
Jacob Calvin Meyer of the Baltimore Sun. Appreciate him taking the time. I keep trying to talk about it. Let's talk about it like adults. I got something similar. Our friend Matt Torper messaged me this morning and said, everyone the Orioles have drafted since 2020 is now hurt and or bad. That is quite disturbing. I liked Elias's acquisitions this past offseason. The biggest concern is injuries and underperformance by the last 6 draft classes. And it's what I had a lot of people reach out yesterday because the Bordy thing. Yeah, Griffin was worried it was too long when we posted
I know.
it.
I was walking out the door.
Griffin was like, I don't know, man. Like, we'll give it a shot, but I don't feel good about it. As it turns out, it's probably the most viewed clip, like, in the first 24 hours in the history of the show.
Yeah.
But, like, a lot of people reached out to me, and a lot of baseball people reached out to me about it yesterday. And I had a few people say, Bordy's saying what a lot of people want to say. And you could see, like, Jim Palmer, right? Like, who has always been a little bit more inclined to speak his mind than others have because he's Jim Palmer, right? Like, what are you going to do, fire me? But, like, he called it woeful baseball on Twitter. The interesting stuff that Bordy brought up yesterday, the true outcomes, that we've talked about that ad nauseum, right? Like, I had someone in baseball, and that's all I'll say, someone in baseball, currently in baseball, Major League Baseball, who reached out to me yesterday and said, the commissioner is going to have to start looking at this. And it was an interesting point that they brought up because I would say, I think there are teams that would say, no, we're fine with this. I think the Cubs right now are not all that worried about how watchable the baseball is because they won 6 in a row now, I think.
Well, they lose a game and then they win 9 in a row.
That's what they do. I don't think the Cubs are asking questions
They're
about
very
whether
watchable.
or not baseball is watchable. And so I'm torn by it because, like, we default to that's just how baseball is. And even some of the people responding to Bordy were like, you want Gunnar to change, but ask Luis Arias how good it is to just get hits and put together at-bats. Nobody wants him. Somebody reached out to me yesterday and said, how long would it have been before the Padres had said, we're just not going to pay Tony Gwynn the money that he wants because he just doesn't hit home runs? I don't know. I don't know how big of a problem it is throughout baseball. I know it's a problem here. I don't know if it's a similar problem in San Diego or in other places. Here in Baltimore, there's way too much true outcome. Entirely too much. And that does seem to be particularly unique to the players that have been drafted and come through. But ironically, seems to be worse after they get to the bigs. You can go ahead. We don't need to. It seems to be worse after they get to the bigs and succeed than it is immediately when they arrive. And to different layers, right? Like Adley Rutschman now looks more like it wasn't the first. I think it was the first at bat from Gunnar was good last night. Just didn't lead to a hit. The second at bat was also good when Jackson was already on first base and they got a hit, and it was the first time they had runners on first and second, and they blew it. But like we saw Adley get here, succeed, then seem to kind of turn into a natural outcomes player, and struggled. Now this season we're seeing less of the natural outcomes and more of the quality Adley Rutschman. Colton Cowser got here, succeeded. Now some of it seemed to be that like people just hadn't figured out don't throw him a fastball. Like that doesn't necessarily seem to be just about him changing the way he plays. It just sort of feels like the Colton Cowser story was he reached the major leagues. They didn't have the book on Colton Cowser, which was throw anything that breaks at all. At all. And you're good.
Or off speed, yeah.
Yeah, anything at all.
Anything that's not fastball.
Correct. And you're good. I think it's more that. But it is strange how it seems like it's happened after guys have gotten to the major leagues where they become these true outcome hitters. Today's show brought to you by County Sports Zone. CountySports.zone is the website for you to find everything you need to know about high school sports here in the state of Maryland, coming down into the playoff season in high school lacrosse. So find all of that, CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Only one local team playing in the NCAA men's lacrosse tournament, and Patrick Stevens gave us some info about how rare these circumstances really are. You know him from USA Lacrosse Magazine. You follow him on Twitter and Blue Sky at Discourse. Good morning, Patrick Stevens. How are you, sir?
I am well, Glenn. How are you? I'm ready to be a road warrior the next few weeks.
I mean, kind of a historic circumstance, obviously, in that the state of Maryland will not have an NCAA men's Division I lacrosse tournament game, and as you pointed out to me, that's never happened before.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are rarities or not happening a lot, and that's certainly one of them. The first time since the tournament was established in 1971 that there will not be a single tournament game played inside the state of Maryland. Of course, Johns Hopkins, the only local team making it, they're sent on the road. And this is a year where Navy is not one of the quarterfinal hosts.
Yep.
Now there is a quarterfinal fairly close by at Delaware, so you don't have to go too far over the state line to get a bit of a fix there next weekend. But this weekend you're going to have to go a little ways, whether up to Princeton or to Penn State or down to Virginia or Richmond, getting the target around Maryland, but not quite inside the state, as it's obviously a disappointing weekend for a few teams in these parts. Let's
start there. Let's start with the postscripts on the teams that did not make it, and how to rank the disappointment. I guess we start with, I would assume that Loyola is the least disappointed of the three teams we're going to reference here. Not to say they aren't disappointed, and I think probably disappointed that they weren't more competitive in either game they played against Army. You and I have talked about it the last couple of weeks. On the whole, a big correction from Loyola this season, provided they have the pieces, Mason Cook, Keenan Everhart back next year. They're probably feeling a lot better about where they're going to slot into the Patriot League. Still, they would have loved to have been playing in the NCAA tournament, but a bit hard to really be all that furious or angry or terribly brokenhearted.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a team that shared the conference regular season title, and it went from 3-11 to 10-6.
Yeah,
I mean that's a clear bit of progress for them. Were they a top 10, top 15 team? No, but they were really solid. And when you go back and look at the season that they had, outside of maybe that Lehigh game in the middle of March, I mean, there's really not a lot of results you can quibble with where you sit there and say, gosh, these guys had a really bad day and just didn't get it done. And even that Lehigh team was a nuisance for some people this year. So if you're Loyola, you wish that you could have played better against Army either time, but this was a really good and really hungry West Point team that had been bounced in the conference tournament the last couple of years, and you got the sense, with that group with Fellows and a number of those other guys, and Evan Plunkett and Sean Byrne in the cage, who was fabulous in that game on Sunday. You feel like that was a team that was going to have to not play very well to lose on its home field, and Army just played extremely well the last game and a half. I mean, they struggled in the first half against Lehigh on Friday, put together just a breathtakingly dominant second half, and then just handled Loyola pretty effectively there, pretty much from the jump. So, I'm sure Loyola didn't have a fun bus ride back, but that's still, I think, if you're sizing them up, I think Loyola had a good season, a bounce-back season, and something that can be built on moving forward.
I don't know that Towson really was going to have a chance to beat whoever they would have faced in the first round, but, this is a team that wasn't that far removed from beating Virginia, who is maybe one of the favorites to win the national championship all of a sudden. Again, from just the weekend, not from the full season perspective, but from the weekend, that's got to be a bitter disappointment how things went on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, for a team that had won the league the last 2 years, had beaten its conference opponents 25 in a row, you felt a little bit like there was a bit of a coronation, right? Like you thought that this was a Towson team that had enough, maybe not a whole lot. And Sean Nadlin pushed back on me after the game when I talked about how they'd been there. It's like, well, we're kind of young at in the midfield and this, that, and the other. But they still had probably the best player on the field in Mikey Weishauer, and they still have Joaquin Villagomez. And they were a little young on defense, had some new pieces there, a little inexperienced. But you thought that at home that this would be a team that would finish the job, hadn't really been threatened, and it kind of showed. They hadn't really gotten a whole lot of pushback since that loss to Loyola 2 months earlier. Even down at Virginia, they played really well and had a pretty comfortable margin. And Stony Brook just kind of outworked them. I mean, you kind of watch that Seawolves team, and it's led by Anthony Gallardi, a former Towson assistant, was part of that Final Four team and got the Stony Brook job after the 2019 season. And, they don't exactly have a bunch of superstars. There's a couple really good players on there. The goalie Tommy Wilk from Mount St. Joseph played really, really well over the weekend. But it wasn't as if they just had a whole lot of obvious stars. They just had a lot of really good players. And, maybe there wasn't a Zach Goodrich or anything like that, but they kind of looked like those early tournament teams under Sean Nadlin where, maybe there's not a bunch of stars, but gosh, it just worked really, really well when you put it all together. And Stony Brook was able to get that one on Saturday, got up early, and Towson just could never quite climb out of that. And so, yeah, I would say it's a disappointing result for Towson. And, they obviously have to figure out what a post-Weishauer world looks like for them, because that was a wonderful thing to have for the last 4 seasons. And he finishes his career tied exactly with Glenn Smith atop the school's goals record.
Unreal. And then obviously the Maryland thing, which, like, by the time they got there, I don't know, this is sort of what they were this season, and I get that injuries hurt them, but still on the whole, a tremendously disappointing season, and clearly not a circumstance that Maryland is used to, being on the outside looking in for the NCAA tournament.
No, it's the first time since 2002 that they missed the tournament, that was the last year that there was a 12-team field. And so that was a Maryland team that lost 4 games by a goal, basically. And they're that close, and there were only 6 at-large spots that year. And so you had a couple ACC teams in there, and you had Syracuse and Hopkins, and the next thing you know, there's no room for Maryland. And fast forward 24 years, and I think this Maryland team probably left a little bit more on the table and has, I think, less room to complain. You go 7-6, you get held to single figures in 5 of your 6 losses. It's not hard to kind of figure out what the culprit here is. I mean, the offense just simply was not consistent enough, was not potent enough on a regular basis. And even when they beat Ohio State, I remember, after that game, John Tillman was very disappointed, knowing like that was not going to cut it, and it sure didn't. Now you can sit here and argue, well, what about the Matt Collison throwing the stick goal that was allowed that shouldn't have been in the Hopkins game a couple weeks after that? There's certainly things you can point to. You could also point to, hey, maybe you guys should have put a little more effort into trying to reschedule that Richmond game that got postponed the first week of the season. Now, that could have also just been another loss. This was a Maryland team that went 1-6 against the top 10, and so that was you would look at that and say, well, that's a team that probably wasn't a top 10 team, and this year you just kind of missed out on getting that last at-large spot. So, I look at them, and there's obviously some retooling that's going to have to go on there as well. But I would expect a lot of work to be done on what they do offensively, because clearly what they did offensively this year just simply did not work. Now, how much of that scheme, how much of that is personnel? I mean, both of those things I think probably contribute.
It's interesting, as we talked about this last couple of years, it has been 3 or 4 years really since they've had that like singular offensive alpha, and I've wondered if that was like purposeful, that it was built that way, because presumably if you're Maryland, you can still go, and somebody would say, hey, those guys just this year uniquely, there's not as many of them, right? Like Mikey Weishar, who you brought up, is one, but there's not as many of those guys this year as maybe there have been other years. But I do wonder how purposeful that's been, or whether or not that just needs to change, where that needs to be a singular focus to say, hey, that worked out pretty well for us when we had those guys for a stretch.
Well, you also need money in this day and age.
That's true.
To get those guys.
That is
true.
I
think we've had plenty of conversations about money in Maryland athletics and how those two don't seem to ever go together. So let's be fair. Like Eric Spanos was hurt at times this year. I don't think he was playing at 100% the last month or so of the season. So that probably didn't help. But I also don't know if they had a whole lot of juice there. I don't know if there was anybody on that offense other than Leo Johnson that just kind of played with the sort of verve that you would want like a lead guy to play with, and that's a guy that's a grad transfer from Yale and whatnot. That's not a guy that's been in the program. You wonder how much of that stuff's being fostered, right? Like, this is a team that's been built on discipline, built on not beating themselves, built on doing the right thing and playing smart. Maybe there's something to be said for perhaps a little more creativity with encouraging that and fostering that might help.
Patrick Stevens is with us here on GCR. Patrick, the one area team that is in is Johns Hopkins, and obviously deserved that they should be in. They've got to go to Cornell. I don't know how much confidence there is in this Johns Hopkins team. It's good to be there. Are they capable of, winning a couple of games, making a run now that they're in?
My thoughts on Hopkins haven't really changed much over the last couple months, and that's that you look at them, and the more, and I would say it has changed since the start of the season, because they obviously played pretty well early on. This is a team that has a lot of different options and is probably much like, especially the 23 team under Peter Milliman and the 24 team to a lesser extent, a whole is greater than the sum of the parts type of team. I think that is sort of the Milliman philosophy in a nutshell. And so the good thing about that is that you're probably going to be able to stay in a lot of games if you have a whole bunch of different options and you can kind of plug and play and figure things out. The bad thing is I don't know what if your ceiling is quite high enough in a situation like that. And so, you take a game like Saturdays, for example, when they lost to Penn State 16-8 in the Big Ten final. And granted, that was a game that Quentin Kilrain, the defenseman and the junior captain, did not play. He got hurt in the second quarter of the semifinal against Michigan. And it's a fair question as to, if he's not back, all right, now you're down one of your top defensemen against a really potent, attack that features Ryan Goldstein and Willem Firth. So, can Hopkins, keep pace in a foot race with Cornell? Probably not. This isn't as explosive a Cornell team as what we saw last year. They don't have CJ Kirst, but I think this is a fair way to say it for Hopkins. You have to go beat them, but it's possible to go beat them. It's not an outlandish request to do so. So, I think they will play well. But it's certainly possible that Cornell just simply plays better.
Patrick, how many of the teams that are in this field are capable of winning the NCAA tournament?
More than what we've seen in a while. I would argue that just about every seeded team has a chance to do it.
Wow.
And, I could envision just about any team that's playing at home this weekend figuring out a way to do it, including Penn State. Which was able to sneak in and get that last spot. Clearly, Penn State's playing as well as it has all year. Clearly, Virginia is playing as well as it has all year. You have North Carolina, and you have basically the best face-off guy in the country in Brady Wambach. That is going to give you a chance. Princeton, fabulous offense, and has been as consistent as anybody basically since the second game of the season. Notre Dame, fabulous defense, coming off a rough game against Virginia, but they've been able to handle everybody not named Virginia this season. Syracuse, tons of seniors, and Richmond is just rock solid from top to bottom. You know, I think if we're sitting here trying to say what would be the formula for getting the best possible tournament, it would be a lot of chalk in the first weekend and then just buckle up for some fabulous quarterfinals the next weekend. You would have 3 rematches if all the home teams won this week. Princeton and Penn State, that was Princeton's opener. They did not play well. Fixed it by the next week against Maryland and have only lost once since. Virginia and Richmond, an in-state battle. Richmond's gotten the better of them the last couple of years. So interesting to see, you know, how a Virginia that's playing better would respond to that. And North Carolina's beaten Syracuse twice. How does that Syracuse senior class respond? You know, when this was billed as the group that was going to restore everything, and you know they've progressively gotten better. Got to the quarterfinals 2 years ago, the semifinals last year. You know, can they kind of knock that down? So, and then you've got Notre Dame and Cornell. Cornell's obviously not as good as it was last year, but still really, really tough. And a Notre Dame Cornell game just kind of smells like 10-9 if that's how it plays out. So, you give me a bunch of chalk this week. I think that you'll be in for a great weekend in the second weekend of the tournament.
All right, let's play our game. Can Patrick Stevens name the MLB teams for this particular player/manager? I'm going to do it like I did last week, only 2, because, again, the first one's a ball buster, and there's a reason. Both of these actually came from a listener. These came from Dave, and I'll explain why he gave me the first one. I don't know, man. If you do well with this, again, we might cancel the game. There are 8 teams for a one-time All-Star. Godspeed to you, Patrick Stevens. Randy Wolf is the first name.
Oh, gosh. Oh, wow. That is tough.
Yeah.
That is really tough.
Hey, for what it's worth, I got 2.
You got 2?
I got
okay.
2.
You got 2. Okay, well, Randy Wolf, definitely a Philly.
Of course.
He was a Brewer, correct?
Somehow I forgot that one. And he was there for a few years. So
he was there for a few years.
Yeah, that's shameful on my part.
Okay, so he was I'm going to go for it. He was a Dodger, right?
He was. That was the only other one that I got. I got those 2.
Those 2 for Randy Wolf. Yeah. Okay. Randy Wolf.
No more than 21 starts in any of the other.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Okay. Am I vaguely recalling Randy Wolf as a Red Sox?
No, not as a Red Sox.
No. Okay. Okay. Randy Wolf. Houston, maybe.
Yes, in Houston for sure.
Okay. I don't know for sure.
12 starts.
Okay.
12 starts in Houston.
12 starts in Houston for Randy Wolf. Okay. Why am I thinking the Giants as well?
Not the Giants.
Not the Giants? Okay. Kansas City, perhaps?
Oh, all right. Well, it's going so well.
And Miami?
Miami is a yes, so 5 out of 8 on Randy Wolf ain't bad. Go ahead.
Oakland?
Not Oakland.
Okay, I don't know.
What if
Toronto?
Not Toronto. San Diego was one.
Okay.
21 starts there. Detroit was another. And what if I told you, because this is why it came up in conversation, that Randy Wolf was a Baltimore Oriole?
No, he wasn't.
Wow. How about
Randy
that?
Wolf in 2000, and a good Orioles team. In 2012, Randy Wolf made 2 starts and appeared in 5 games of the Baltimore Orioles, and I have zero recollection of that ever happening.
All right, I'm going to break my rule because I've never done this.
Yes.
I'm actually going to go to Baseball Reference and look something up.
Okay,
here.
that's all right.
Okay, I want to go to the game log and see when that.
When
occurred.
during the season it occurred that Randy Wolf was a.
So it happened in April and May. No,
okay.
never mind. He was acquired. No, he was acquired in September. It was a September pickup.
So somebody who had been released.
Yeah, probably after
Okay.
giving up 6 runs and 5 runs.
And that
Maybe
was
a waiver claim.
And that was back when you could still put 40 guys on the roster in September.
Yeah, so it was. Yeah, he was released. He was released and then signed on the 31st of August. Okay.
No recollection whatsoever. Zero. When I saw it, I still didn't believe it. I said, I guess we're gonna have to go with it. But I have this. This is the Sinbad thing. Like this movie did not exist. I do not believe that this was real. And then we'll wash the taste of that with if we combine. And I can't believe that there's a Hall of Famer that we never did. But Dave pointed out to me. I actually sent him the list, and he said, "You know who you're missing." This guy played for 4 teams. If you include a managerial stint, it's 5 teams. He managed 2, but one of them he also played for. The great Tony Perez is the other name on this list.
All right, Tony Perez was a Cincinnati Red,
of course,
and he managed the Reds briefly.
Yes, he did.
He was a Montreal Expo,
of course.
He was a Boston Red Sox, correct?
Yep.
He was a Philadelphia Philly on the Wheeze Kids.
Sure was.
And he managed the Florida Marlins.
Look at you. Where will your travels be taking you this weekend, sir?
Have not finalized everything. Might get a little ambitious, but definitely going to be down at Richmond on Saturday night and at Virginia on Sunday night. That's Richmond and Duke. First time Richmond has ever hosted an NCAA tournament game. And then Virginia and Georgetown in the anchor game on Sunday night down in Charlottesville. So those 2 games for sure.
It sounds like you're trying to squeeze something else in, which is you're a madman.
Yeah, I mean, well, what would you think about doing a game at North Carolina at noon and then
trying to get to Richmond? Yeah, that's bold. I assume it can be done.
I think it can be done.
Yeah, that's a bold strategy. That is wild. That sounds like something you would do.
Let's see if it pays off.
Yeah, right. Let's see, Cotton. At Discourse, D1S Course. That's how you follow him. Blue Sky and Twitter. Of course, USA Lacrosse Magazine for all of his coverage during the NCAA tournament. Patrick Stevens, always appreciate you, brother. We'll talk again next week. All right.
Awesome, Glenn. Take care.
Thanks, buddy. Patrick Stevens with us here on GCR. I mean, I guarantee we're not the only ones that did not have any memory whatsoever of Randy Wolf being a Baltimore Oriole. And I'm telling you, Dave messaged me. Somebody, who did we have recently that was briefly an Oriole? There was somebody that spurred this conversation. We had someone recently.
We had someone on the show.
No, that we talked about on this. We did on the Patrick Stevens game. Somebody that we did
I don't know.
recently.
Who's that guy you always fight? Nick Adams is.
Dude, God, I don't talk about Nick Adams that much.
No, you always talk about.
No, I don't do that. It was Heathcliff Slocum that inspired this. We did Heathcliff Slocum a couple weeks back, and he spent.
So we're just trying to find obscure.
He spent 10 games as an Oriole in 1999, and Dave messaged me and said, "I think I can do you one better." And then we were at because he didn't know all the details of the game. He wasn't a regular listener. Dave said, "Have you ever asked him about Randy Wolf?" And my first response was, "Why would I put Randy Wolf on this list?" I didn't even realize
he was an all-star.
I did not realize that Randy Wolf was an all-star. Remember, the game started with the concept was you had to be an all-star at least once. You had to play at least 5 years past 1980. And at the time, we started this with 5 or more teams. We've been doing this now for like 8 years or whatever it's been. So we've gone from 5 or more teams to 3 or more teams at this point. But I look up Randy Wolf and I said, that says he was an Oriole. There's no effing chance that Randy Wolf was an Oriole. And then because I didn't have the year in front of me when I was looking at it, I was like, all right, I guess maybe he was on one of those terrible teams that we've just forgotten about. God knows, Randy Wolf could have been a 2008 or anybody could have been a 2008 Oriole. Griffin could have been a 2008 Oriole.
I might have.
Who knows? So I said, I guess it's possible, right? And then I found out it was the 2012 Orioles, and I said, what?
A team we watched?
What? So yeah, I guarantee you that if we put it out on Twitter, did you know that Randy Wolf was a Baltimore Oriole? We would get responses back like, no, he wasn't.
Apparently, he had 2 stints because he in 2014 he played for the Tides for a week.
Well, that doesn't count.
I know.
It
But
doesn't count.
the Orioles
They
signed
They
him.
loved him,
They
apparently.
signed him.
They loved
You know.
They brought him back. What was the year that they brought back Jamie Moyer? Was that 2012? And he never pitched. He never got back to the bigs.
Yeah, it must have been 2012.
I think it was 2012.
But I almost
maybe 2013.
feel like it was more recent.
I don't think it was. He came back in 2000. 2012.
Okay.
He signed a minor league deal with the Orioles on June 6th, 2 days after being released by the Rockies. He came with a stipulation that he would make 3 starts for the Tides, and after that, the Orioles had to promote him or grant his release. Instead, they attempted to offer him another start in the minors after his 3 starts in AAA. I only remember this because when he signed, we called him and we had him on the show, and I don't remember what I said something because Jamie Moyer was never known for his fastball. Like Jamie Moyer made a career out of.
I thought he was like Cam Schlittler.
Yeah.
Before Cam Schlittler.
Yeah. And so now this was 40-some-year-old Jamie Moyer, right? And
he would have been. It was 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been like 50. No, he would have been 49.
Yeah.
Or he would have been 48. He would have been 48.
No, he was born in 62, so he would have been 49, turning.
Okay.
He would have been turning 50
in November.
In November of that year, at 49 years old. And so I asked him something like, "Hey, if you really tried to rear it back, like what's the?" And all I remember was he was angry.
With you, like with the question.
Yeah, and I was like,
"You don't think I can?"
It was exactly the way it came off. Like I pitched the way that I was like, Jamie, what the hell happened here? Like I just wanted to know, like if you really put everything into it, and maybe it was because like I asked it this, I'm like, could you touch 90? Like I might have said something like that, and I was like, all right, man, well, good luck. I didn't have any beef with Jamie Moyer at all.
Sounds like he
but he was 49 years old, and he had never been a fastball pitcher in his life.
So so you never got an answer.
I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Yeah, probably.
Right now, what do you think?
Probably. He's 63 years old, Jamie Moyer. And I bet, you know what? I bet he could still pitch. I bet there's a team. What's the team that Trevor Bauer is pitching for right now?
He's pitching for like a real,
not a real team. No, he's pitching for a.
Was it the Rubber Ducks?
Oh, the Long Island Ducks. Yes, that's who he's pitching for. I bet Jamie Moyer could get guys out in that league. I bet he could. Do the Long Island Ducks? Do they play in the same league as Hagerstown?
They play in what league are they in? Hold on.
Because there's only so many unaffiliated leagues. Like there's not many, so I can't imagine there's a whole lot more options.
Why do they? Oh yeah, they do. They definitely do. Because they play the Boxcars today.
How about that?
They play.
I'm not going to make
tonight
that trip.
In all week. They're in Hagerstown. Well,
you could
through Thursday.
You could tell me Trevor Bauer was pitching tonight, and I'd say no chance in hell. No chance. In fact, I would only go if Trevor Bauer wasn't pitching.
So the Atlantic League.
Although Patrick did get me to go to Hagerstown specifically because Tim Tebow was in town. We went last year, obviously, for Arthur Rhodes bobblehead night. But one time there was no bobblehead giveaway, and this was before the new stadium existed. It was back when they played at the old rickety stadium. Patrick said, Tim Tebow's playing on Sunday. Do you want to go out? And I was like, yeah, you know what? I will. I will. It was when my wife was due. My second son was probably a week short of the due date, and she called me in the middle of the game and said, you need to come home. I'm thinking it's happening. And I'm like flying from Hagerstown back here. I'm going like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and like 20 minutes, she was like, "Oh no, I'm fine."
Oh.
Well, and so now I had driven all the way back from.
Good,
I think if I remember correctly, I just ended up going. AJ was in town. I think I went to a wrestling show at the arena with him instead. He called me. He was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm racing home because my wife's about to go into labor." And he was like, "Oh, sorry. Well, I was gonna invite you to the show tonight." And I was like, "Sorry, can't do it." And then my wife was like, "Hey, turns out I'm not in labor." And I was like, "Hey, buddy." I think that's the way it went. All right, we come back in. Chance to meet new Ravens punter and 6th-round pick Ryan Eckley. We'll do that next. It is a Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website CostasInn.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in a car or truck crash, you probably know this is stressful. Medical bills, the insurance company giving you the runaround, you got to get your car fixed. You don't just need a lawyer, you need results. At Warnken LLC, we represent the injured across Maryland. Whether it's a car or truck crash case, medical malpractice, or any other serious personal injury, we fight for maximum compensation for you and maximum ease for you. You don't want to have to deal with this stuff. Warnken LLC has been voted best personal injury law firm in Maryland for a reason. For us, 443 Results isn't just a phone number, it's our mission. Get the advocate that you need. Call us today, 443 Results, or visit us online, warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Tuesday edition of the program. The print issue of Press Box is available for free at your Baltimore area highest dairy stores, everywhere you find Press Box around town. You can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. It's free. Cover story from Bill Ordine about the future of the Preakness. Go pick it up right now. Now, immediately. Go get that or read it online. We had to do this earlier because of his schedule after rookie mini camp, but an opportunity to meet one of the newest Baltimore Ravens and their new punter, Ryan Eckley, right here on GCR. Well, it's a pleasure to be joined now here on GCR by one of the newest members of the Baltimore Ravens. He was selected in the 6th round of the NFL Draft, and he is now the Ravens punter. He's Ryan Eckley, and he's with us here on GCR. Ryan, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's so good to meet you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
I know this has probably been like the craziest 10 days of your life. Can you kind of put it into words, like what this last week and a half has been like? As I'm sure you've dreamed of these moments throughout the course of your life, how does the reality of it compare to the dream that you've had for the last decade or so?
Yeah, it's been a really good experience. Getting the call there on draft day was pretty special, and then things start to move pretty quickly. You get down to Baltimore, and it's a lot of new faces, a lot of new people to meet, and we're heading right into rookie minicamp, and just finished that up, and it was a really cool experience. Went really well, and I'm just looking forward to the future.
Did you, honest to God, did you know, because the Ravens obviously were in the market for a punter with Jordan Stout leaving for New York. Had you had the feeling during the process that it might work out, that it was going to end up being Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope so. I knew that was one of the top landing spots from this past year's draft, and there were a few teams that looking, but I knew Baltimore was going to be, one of the first teams to actually take a punter, and ended up being the first team to take a punter. So it worked out, and I definitely was on my radar.
Did that drive you like during the process? I don't. It's maybe not quite the same as like other positions where you're competing in the 40, and that's maybe a little bit less important for punters, right? But like, did that drive you, that desire to be the first punter off the board?
Yeah, 100%. That's a big honor, and one of the things that I'm proud of in myself is that I was able to be top of my class this year, and I hope that's something that I can. We talked about this in the building, is proving them right. Making sure that they made the right decision, and proving the people of Baltimore and proving the staff that they made a good decision.
Ryan, I'm always fascinated. So I've gotten to know the last couple of punters in town. I'm always fascinated by the path to punting because, like, with some football players, it's obvious, right? Like, you just look at them and you say, oh, right, obviously you were going to become a football player. That makes sense. Punters, not always the same. What was the path for you to realizing, hey, I have this skill that a lot of people don't have. I might be able to do something with it.
Yeah, my path was a little different than most guys. Some specialists are soccer first guys and all that, but football has really always been my primary sport. I started playing football when I was 6 years old, and then when I was 8, we had like an open competition for a kicking spot when the PAT got introduced, and I had won the competition and kind of just stuck with it the whole way through. I mean, I played other positions my whole life. I played quarterback and safety, and college was the first time I really just punted.
Okay.
So punting was something I got serious about when I was probably a sophomore in high school. It's like I kind of knew maybe I could take this to the next level. But yeah, I've always been a football guy, especially quarterback, and my parents aren't the tallest people in the world, so reality kind of said it. I think I probably have better odds of playing college ball if I can, kick this football rather than sitting here playing quarterback at about 6'1".
I mean, no, wait, hang on a second, though.
That's kind of how I got to
But
it.
you have to have a passion for it, right? Because, like, I feel like as a football player, it might have been easy for you to be like, oh, dude, I got to be the punter. I don't know, man. Like, it's not really what I want to do. Did you know you had a passion for it? Did that have to come after you really started focusing on it and maybe learning some of the more intricacies of punting?
Yeah, once I started taking it seriously is when I fell in love with it, because the process is such a huge part of being a specialist. It's not like something where I could give you a football right now and you could punt and hit a turnover, pretty spiral ball. It's a long, long process. So falling in love with that was a big part of it. And then just the satisfaction of, I tell everyone it's just like golf, and golf's a huge part of my game.
Yeah.
It's like, when you hit a good punt, it's like flushing your drive, right? You see it, the moment it leaves your foot, you smashed it. It's that high, pretty spiral that fades all the way over. It's beautiful. So that is something it's addicting. You hit that good ball, and right away it was good, and right away it's bad too. It's not. It's like it's such an immediate feedback system where it's easy to fall in love with, just like golf.
New Ravens punter Ryan Eckley is with us here on GCR. Ryan, it's so interesting you bring that up, right? Because obviously you show up in Baltimore where once upon a time Sam Cooke was kind of known for having his golf bag, right? Like, and Sam and I would talk all the time about the different types of punts, and he kind of revolutionized the punting field because he had so many different types of punts. I know you're a big golfer. Was Sam someone that you studied? Like, were you aware of all that? And did you start to incorporate? Because a lot of people brought up the different types of punts that you have in your own golf bag.
Yeah, that is a huge part of my game, and I think that's something I've talked to my coach about a lot here in Baltimore is hey, I have different punts I can hit, and there are different aspects of my game that we can use more than just the spiral. I think everyone in the NFL has a big leg and can crush spirals. That's why you're one of the 32 best in the world. But what can separate you and keep you around for a long time and make the returner's job a lot harder is all the different kind of punts we can hit, where we can, throw the team off and make something that the returner has to think about while they're sitting under the ball.
It's really cool, man. I like. Do you find yourself like in the lab, maybe trying to invent like a new punt? Do you sort of like? Is it more about focusing on what you do really well and perfecting it, or is there some part of you that's like, maybe I could try this, maybe I could have a behind the back type of punt or something like that?
Right. Like honestly, I think we're at the point now, especially post Sam era, where
they're all out
found
there.
every punt there is. And now it's not like finding a new punt, but necessarily finding a version of a punt that works for me. whether that be a helicopter or a hook or a knuckleball or all those different kinds of punts. How can I mean, there's no one way that everyone kicks the ball, so finding how to hit those balls for me may be different than how someone else would hit it.
That's really cool, man. Is it like when do you go to the bag? Is it just about where you are on the field? Is it about the weather conditions? I don't know, maybe I'm giving away state secrets if I ask this question, but like how do you figure which punt is perfect in which spots?
Yeah, no, it's not you're not really giving anything away here. It's field position, it's wind, it's weather, it's how warm is it, how cold is it, it's how good is their returner, what's our scheme for that week, what have I been doing well for the past 5-6 weeks that we can come and rely on, that we know I'll hit a good ball every time. Like you're more comfortable hitting your pitching wedge than you are your 4-iron, so it's like maybe we can play this to know that we're going to get the exact ball we want rather than it's 30 degrees and 20-mile-an-hour winds. Maybe there's a certain ball we wouldn't want to call on in that situation.
Wow, that's dude. We could end up spending sometime. We might have to work this out, that we do like the science of punting together at some point in the future, because I'm fascinated by it. Ryan, famously, we bring up Sam Cooke. Obviously, he was like a sure thing in the fake punt game. He finished his career 7 of 8 passing. I was diving through your numbers at Michigan State. I didn't see a lot. I saw like 1 run. I'm guessing that might have been like a botched situation. But given your history as a quarterback, do you feel like maybe you have more of that perhaps could be called upon in the future?
Yeah, 100%. At Michigan State, I begged for fakes all the time. Like I said, college was the first time I stopped playing another position, and I hate to call it real football, but it was probably high school's last time I got to play real football other than just kicking the ball. So I would love to get back to running fakes, throwing the ball a little bit, showing off my speed. I like to think I'm a pretty athletic guy, so I think I absolutely the punt fake game is a huge part of my game.
What are the rules for you in trying to get downfield, right? Because we always see long snappers get downfield, but normally you don't want to risk your punter getting hurt, so you kind of want him to only make a tackle if he absolutely must. Do you abide by that, or are you the type that, because of your background, wants to get downfield and hit somebody if at all possible?
I was told a couple of times not to go hit people, as getting me hurt's probably not a good idea, but football instinct tends to take over, and there's some clips you can find of me making a couple pretty solid tackles in my college career. I hit the Illinois returner pretty hard back in 24.
Nice.
I ended up on the Pat McAfee show, and I enjoy making hits. I enjoy putting my head in the fire, and if I got to lower my shoulder and put my body on the line, I absolutely would love to do that.
I love that. Again, we don't want you getting hurt. We do not want you getting hurt, but I love that as part of your game. Ryan, you mentioned golf. I was reading a little bit about the relationship with you and your father, and how golf has been so important to you. Can you kind of walk me through that? And as you allude to, are there ways in which like golf and punting, like your golf game can help your punting game? Like, do those two things walk hand in hand in a way?
Yeah, my dad got me into golf. He tried to get me in earlier than college, but I mean, he tried to push golf. Golf is huge for him, and I tried to pick up the sticks earlier in high school and later in middle school, but I didn't love it. It's not a big thing in Florida like it is, a little further up north, just because there's other sports year round. But I fell in love with golf in college, and now I'm a severe addict, as I found most people tend to be. And the correlation between punting and golf is really it's right there. Like the swing path, the draws, fades, shot shaping are all a huge part of punting, and it's like being able to in a metal game too is just it's identical. And I think they go hand in hand. When I'm on the course and it's I hit a bad drive, and it's like, all right, now how do I respond? It's like, well, I'm in a game, and if I don't hit the punt that I wanted to, and the outcome wasn't what I was looking for, the ability to put that pass punt behind me and go on to the next ball, especially in a high pressure situation in the game, I think has really, really helped me.
That's
so the
cool.
mental maturity side of golf translates, and also the shot shaping aspect as well.
Now, what about the swagger? I think Griffin's going to show everybody that's watching the video, because we've seen you do like the Conor McGregor strut. Where did the swagger come from? And what are like the rules for you for maybe when you pull out a little bit of that when we see you on the field this fall?
Yeah, it's heat of the moment thing, man. I get caught up in it. I love football, and I tell everyone, like, you see, Zay Flowers catches one, he scores a 60-yard touchdown. You're gonna see him celebrating in the end zone, right? So like, why can't I celebrate after I make a play where we flip the field, 55, 60 yards, and you pin them inside their own 5, and now they have to drive 95 plus yards to go score. So that's I think being able to change the game and then celebrate on top of it. I'm a football player just like everybody else.
I mean, I think it was Rich Eisen who said punters are people too, right? Like, hey, come on, man.
Absolutely.
100%. And we know that, like, a punt can be a complete game-changing type of play. Like, we are very aware of that. So I dig that. I mentioned your dad. Am I right that I saw you? Is your mother a meteorologist?
Yes, she is.
So
she's doing the weather.
Okay, so is that something that you've ended up having any interest in at all? Like, could you see yourself? I bring this up because Owen Daniels, who was a tight end for years, was legitimately fascinated by it and would come over to the TV station and try to do the weather whenever he could, because he was so. Is that something you've ever found any interest in whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been drawn around the camera. I don't know if I've ever thought about being a meteorologist, but I've definitely looked into sports broadcasting after football and,
cool.
Being a presence in the social media world as well, just because I'm comfortable in front of the camera. I grew up around it, and I think I enjoy public speaking, so I could see myself after football getting into that whole sports broadcasting industry.
That's really cool, man. Like, is it something that you think you might end up doing during your career? Where we see guys do, like, Marlon Humphrey is maybe the king of this, right? Like, he's doing. Like, is it something that you could see yourself doing, trying to give people like a look at your journey?
Yeah, 100%. If the opportunity arises, I would love to, share my journey, and I think it's really important for younger specialists and younger athletes to hear. It's how hard it is to get to this level and all the things that go into it. I think there's a lot of misconceptions around what it takes to get to this level, and I'll tell everyone at the end of the day, it comes down to hard work. You have to put your head down and just grind. I started out my career as a walk-on, and you got to earn everything that's given to you, and nothing will be just handed out to you, especially at this level.
Man, I love that. And I assume that, obviously I reference, you're the Ravens punter. Of course, there is like a competition and nothing is given. And the nature of being a 6th-round pick is that nothing is promised to you. How much do you feel like, hey, this is fun, but I still have to go prove myself to make sure I'm the guy in week 1?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it starts with mini camp this past weekend. It's like every day I'm out there, I'm trying to prove that, I can do this at this level, and at this level, I can be one of the best guys at this level, and that's it's kind of the mentality I have going into every single time I strap the helmet up is I can be the best punter that, maybe you've ever seen, and that's my goal, and that's the mentality I think everyone has to carry, or else you're wasting your time out there. If you don't think you could be the best, then why are you there?
No, I love that. I love that, right? And every day, what did Jesse Minter say this weekend, right? Like, every practice has to be your best day, and so I love that. Ron, I did want to ask, for people that aren't familiar with your story, someone that you play for and that you're maybe living out the dream for yourself, but also to share for it. For people that know the story of your friend who died a few years ago and what it's meant to you to try to continue to live for him, can you just share a little bit of that with everybody?
Yeah, one of my best friends in high school passed away in late 2019, and that's been a huge part of my athletic journey. He was a huge supporter of mine. Growing up, we watched every single college football game together and spent a lot of time hanging out. And he was a huge supporter of mine and knew my dreams and aspirations to play at this level. And so, getting here and remembering why I'm doing all of this is deeper than myself, and it's bigger than just me kicking a football. It's me representing a friend who passed away and everyone who sacrificed for me to get to this level. So being able to play for something more than just, the pride of kicking a football and knowing it means more than just, me putting the pads and helmet on is really important to me. It's a big driving factor of, why I wake up every day and go work out and go train, and everything I do is like I have external motivation beyond myself. It's played a big role.
That's all. I mean, I'm so sorry that you went through that, particularly at such a young age. I mean, it's just unfathomable to lose someone like that, but wonderful that you continue to play for him and to try to accomplish everything and to share his memory, man. Good for you. Ryan Eckley. At Ryan.Eckley is Instagram, correct? And are you on Twitter that Ravens fans can be giving you a follow?
I am, yeah. It's Ryan Eckley 1 on Twitter.
Ryan Eckley 1. Give him a follow there. Ryan, great to meet you, man. Looking forward to getting to know you more in the coming months and years. Congratulations on being a Baltimore Raven. Thank you so much for spending the time with us today. We really appreciate it.
Yo, thanks for having me on.
That's great stuff with the Ravens' new punter, Ryan Eckley. When we come back in, we'll be getting a tidbit and tubular and winding things down. Today's show, you know what? I'll tell you about the Stan the Fan Charles Variety Hour. We love the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. He, Ross, and Luke are talking baseball every Monday, even when it's not pleasant. If you missed yesterday's show, you can find it right now, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Click on the videos tab. Go to youtube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Stan, Ross, and Luke every Monday, all brought to you by Warnken Law and the Costas Inn, with two great locations, the OG in Dundalk and the new one in Timonium. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with two great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs in the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bill Ordine dives in on how different Preakness will be temporarily at Laurel Park and then long-term once it returns to Pimlico. Also inside, Luke Jackson learns more about what Trey Hendrickson will bring to the Ravens. And Karuga Koinange looks at how Samuel Basayo is influencing the Orioles' international signing efforts. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we wind down for a Tuesday edition of the program. Not a lot of sports last night, unfortunately, in trivia. We also blew it in the final. We had the lead.
Well, that's not surprising.
I can't remember. Of all of the,
I probably got
of all the continental 48 United States capitals that are named after a person, this one is the name of the person who died most recently in 1898.
Is it like obvious?
If it was obvious, I feel like you would have said it by now.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't want to overthink it.
Right.
I've got several answers.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. Roll any of them out there.
Well, I've got about 48 I've narrowed down to.
Okay, there you go.
We
We were between two, and we picked the wrong one.
How many? What the hell? Look at that. There's a spider on the wall.
What's going on in here, huh?
I don't like spiders.
Oh, it's just like, are you gonna go shrieking and running?
Well, I mean, I'd rather just like kind of kill it. I don't want it to.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to killing spiders,
Well, now I can't focus. See, now
Really?
there's no chance. Like, now
you're
there's no
that
chance
worked up about this.
Well, because he's moving. If he was just
He's
like
not
sitting still.
Do you want to go ahead?
No, because
Go get him.
I'm not sure I
Go
can
get him. Put the
I'm not
camera
sure.
on it.
No.
You want me to get him?
Yeah, that would be good. Well, I think about. Well, I think about
paper,
this.
do we have any
answer
paper
here.
towels in here? Or any? I don't really know. I don't think I need this piece of paper any longer.
Yeah.
You want to get the camera on this? You want to get the hero shot?
Yeah. Hold on.
You want to get me doing for Griffin?
Yeah, there you go.
Would never do for me.
Good job. Oh no! See, that's why. Maybe we should have.
Chill.
Oh God. Is it?
I don't know if I got him or not.
Oh great. See, I mean, this is almost worse. Maybe we should have just
Hang on.
left it.
No, I see him.
It's not.
First of all, I don't even know if he's a spider.
Then what was it? It was moving quick. It was moving quick like a spider.
But he's gone.
I think it was.
He's
All right.
gone.
All right. Thank you.
He's gone.
Thank you. Appreciate
This
it.
is why you want to do it with something you can flush.
Well, yeah, but you smashed it pretty good. I
There's
think.
no way.
Yeah, but you smashed it pretty good. So I think. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just over here being a hero. Yes.
That's such a dumb question. What's the point of that question?
Well, for trivia, that's the point. It determined the winner of trivia.
Yeah, but like, what's the relevance to
what?
To like
to trivia.
They died.
It's a trivia
They died 130 years ago.
They did. Believe it or not, history didn't start recently.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
It's not Lincoln,
Yeah, I
Nebraska.
guess because you said they died in 1890.
Died before
yeah.
1898.
Okay.
For sure, he died before 1898.
Olympia.
I don't know what Olympia was named after. I don't believe it was a person.
Maybe it was. Olympia is a name, first name.
We were torn between two. We were torn between Otto Van Bismarck and Stephen F. Austin. Those are the two that we were torn between. And we...
Was it either of those?
It was. It was one of those two.
Okay, look at you guys.
We convinced ourselves...
I would go Bismarck.
...that Otto Van Bismarck was alive past 1898.
Oh.
And he was not. Otto Van Bismarck was the correct answer.
I just feel
Bismarck was the correct
North
answer.
Dakota was founded later, I guess.
Bismarck, actually, however, I thought was named after Biz Markie, the rapper, and so that's what really, I thought they were just.
Well,
big
he
fan.
stole.
Oh baby! No, unfortunately, I believe the Biz. We lost the Biz a couple years ago.
Well, I
did we
mean,
not?
you knew he didn't die in 1890.
Yeah, not in 1898, but I do believe we lost. Sadly, we lost Biz Markie recently. The only sports question was one of those ones that was entirely too easy. It was name the Baltimore Ravens first-round pick from this year's NFL draft, and bonus points if you can name the Washington Commanders first-round pick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did we get hints or?
Bismarck, he was in Baltimore when he died. Wow. He died in 2021.
Well, I believe the Ravens drafted Vanga Ioane.
Yeah, they sure did.
And they want to know the Commanders.
Uh-huh.
And we didn't think he was going to be there, but they took Sonny Styles.
Mm-hmm, they sure did. So that was that.
It's exciting.
But we ended up finishing in third because of our faux pas in the final. Sucks. What you got for tidbit?
Let's go with the Jake Rill pointed out 4-game series in which the Orioles have never
didn't
led.
lead at all. Not
never led. Third time in franchise history.
Was it the first time since 2000 or something along those lines? When it was?
Apparently they led at whatever series you're thinking of. Apparently they led in it. It was April 8th through 11th, 1988 in Cleveland.
That was when they were wasn't 88 when they were mired in the losing streak? Wasn't that when they went 0-21?
That sounds right. Yeah, because 89 was the.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
88.
Then,
88.
right.
They started. They were 0-21.
Nice. And then you got to go back to 1960, also in New York against the Yankees, September 16th through 18th.
You should ask Stan about that.
Never know. Yeah. We do that bit whenever I bring up something from long ago. So you have that. And a big reason why the Orioles never led in that series, a guy who has had the Orioles number already in his, I guess he's almost had a 10-year career at this point. Aaron Judge hit his 53rd career home run against the Orioles last night.
Good for him. What do you want to marry him?
Only 3 other guys have hit more home runs against the Orioles.
Ever? How many was it?
Judge has 53.
Manny Ramirez.
No. Manny hit a measly 36 against the Orioles.
What a loser.
Tied for 13th most all time.
Alex Rodriguez.
A-Rod has hit the most home runs against the Baltimore Orioles, 69 homers in his career.
It felt like Gleyber Torres, but I don't think he quite got to that
I don't
number.
think he got there.
Almost did it in one season.
Like 20 though. Less than 30.
David Ortiz.
Judge will pass him probably the next time we play the Yankees. Ortiz has 55, so 2 more than Judge.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right.
There's one.
There's the one.
Yeah, number 2 on the list.
I thought you said there were 3, and I thought Aaron
Three
Judge.
men. 3 men.
Got it.
More than
Got it. I don't know. How about Jose Batista?
No.
It's got to be somebody who hit a crap ton of home runs.
Let's see. Jose Batista, not even the most from a twin or a twin.
A Blue Jay?
Yeah, I just gave
Yikes. Oh, it was a twin?
Yeah.
Harmon Killebrew?
Harmon Killebrew has 68 home runs.
Random. What a random. Okay.
What Blue Jay has the most?
Joe Carter.
No.
Edwin Encarnacion.
Yes, Edwin Encarnacion. 36, Joe Carter 33.
When the Orioles signed Christian Encarnacion Strand, I'd said that they should do the right thing and bring Gary Thorne back specifically. At least, do the thing that they do with Bob Shepard in New York, where they would still play after he passed away. They would still play him introducing Derek Jeter, even when they had the new PA announcer. They would instead, when Derek Jeter would come to the plate, they'd say, "Number 2, Derek Jeter. Number 2." They should do the same thing. They should have Gary Thorne if Christian Encarnacion.
What did Gary Thorne do with
Arncarnacion? Arncarnacion.
Incarceration. No.
Is my favorite thing. Let's get tubular.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
How about Victor Wembanyama with 12 blocks last night in a triple-double, and the Spurs lost game 1. Anthony Edwards did end up playing.
Yeah, he did.
Came off the bench, right?
Is that what he did? I know he was. He definitely looked limited.
I can't
remember.
But the T-Wolves take
some reason I was still
game 1 on the road. Not that I think any of it matters in the Western Conference, but, I
guess
still notable.
Right. Yeah.
Still notable.
I want to root for the Spurs, I guess, just because Wemby's fun to watch.
Okay, they're still the evil empire to me. F that.
Because he's freaky.
Yeah, and I don't like that they stopped embracing the evil empire. I don't like that they went with the colorful thing.
They're trying to be cool.
I want to be the.
They're trying to turn babyface.
You had Robert Horry. You have to own that for the rest of time. That's the way that it goes. You employed Cheap Shot Bob. Mass in the night. Orioles, Marlins, 6:40. Chris Bassett, Sandy Is it Alcantara or Alcantara? I feel like it's Alcantara.
Alcantara.
I feel like we do this every time.
We talk about it.
I feel like we do it every time.
No, it is Alcantara.
But you're saying that.
No, he's on my fantasy team this year. I know how to say his name.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, because I know everyone's name on my fantasy team.
Wait, you went and met them?
Well, you think I'm not gonna call to make sure they're not in
person
jail or something before I draft them?
Hey, we want to invite you to. You're doing the awkward draft calls.
Yeah.
You're the guy. Hey, man, you fired up? Yeah, I'm fired up. All right. Well, we really like you.
You ready to be on
all right.
You ready to be on team?
Yeah.
You're going to love my team name. Naylor?
Hardly
know her.
Hey, look at you. Is that because you have Bo Naylor on the team?
Well, the first year when I played, I had Josh Naylor.
Naylor, there we go.
And then it's such a good name, I can't get rid of it.
Towson Baseball hosting Maryland this afternoon.
That's right.
3 o'clock on Flow Sports.
Terps are reeling, too.
It's not been a good year. It has not been a good year. NBCSN for Cavs Pistons game 1 at 7, and then NBC for Lakers Thunder game 1 at 8:30. ESPN Wild Avalanche game 2 at 8, and then everything else you can go to GlennClarkRadio.com and find it there. Champions League semifinal leg 2, Arsenal and Atletico Madrid today at 3 o'clock on CBS. That is important. Non-sports.
Daredevil season 2 finale.
Okay.
On Disney Plus.
I haven't watched, and I feel bad about that because I like it. I just haven't watched yet.
That's it. There's nothing.
All right, rock and roll.
You got to watch the Orioles. Suck it up.
Oh boy, it's rough. Or you'll be at the. What am I doing tonight? I'm doing the.
What are you doing?
I'm doing
I should have
the.
asked.
Because you saw me wearing a button-down shirt and you were very confused
what
by
you
that.
wear.
Yeah. Like, who is this guy? What am I doing tonight? I'm doing the. Oh, hang on. I'll tell you in 1 second.
Summer House. We do have Summer House tonight.
That's
of course,
important.
on Bravo.
I'm doing the Associated Italian American Charities Dinner.
Oh, okay. That's what that is.
I'll be the guest and featured speaker.
Do you have to add an E to the end of your name so you seem more Italian? Or
I do have to. I did reach out to my father to. Can you tell me a little bit more about our Italian heritage, just so that I can reference it during my talk? And he gave me very vague details. It's like, well, part of our family's from the northern part of Italy, but part of our family's from the southern part of Italy. I said that sounds like what somebody would say when they just have no idea.
Well, just start making it. Just say you're from Sicily.
Yeah, like, well, I'm a little bit from the north, but also from the south. So, kind of a little bit of, you fired up? Yeah, I'm fired up. Who you with? You're calling Sandy Alcantara. Hey, Sandy, you ready to come to Team Naylor? Who you with right now?
Let your son know. Let your son know.
He's like, my family? He's like, yeah, they fired up.
You're gonna pitch really well for this year.
Not really. Like, how did you get my number? That could be your alternative tonight. I guess if you're Italian, you can go to that. I don't know if it's like you're not allowed to be there if you're not Italian, or they're open to everybody.
Probably a little bit Italian at this point, right?
Well, remember when Les Miles went on the rant about being Italian? Happy Columbus. Oh, my God. It was the greatest rant in the history of it. Happy Columbus Day. Search Les Miles Columbus Day. It's one of the greatest. Oh, my God. It's my favorite thing ever. We created a fake Twitter account about Les Miles, and he reached out to us because he got such a kick out of it over the years. And then I had to retire it afterwards. I was like, well, I guess we're done with the fake Les Miles account. That's it. Les Miles messaged and said he loved it. Oh, God, the best. This guy, the king. I mean, he might have been. Did he turn out to be a scumbag, or was he just like paying players? Because if that's all it was, and I don't care.
I feel like it was
just
playing players.
Yeah, there was a controversy, but I don't remember what the controversy was.
How dare he?
Yeah, like that one I don't care about. If he was a scumbag, that's different. Go ahead. Happy Columbus Day.
Just want to remind everybody that it's Columbus Day. That all those of you that know Italians and like Italians, or the people that might venture onto a ship and travel to explore and find new lands. This is your day.
It's your day.
So it's not St. Patty's Day.
It's not St. Patty's Day.
That's a different
That's
day
different.
entirely.
That's a totally different day.
Welcome into a Monday edition of the Jordy Carter Show.
Thank you. Today is not St. Patrick's Day. Today is Cinco de Mayo. It's not Columbus Day. That's a different day altogether. This one's Cinco de Mayo. So if you know or appreciate Mexicans, or God, what a king! I love that guy. All right. Anyway,
yeah, he was paying players.
All right. Yeah, I don't care about that. That's all
just
good.
To confirm
All good. We can still love Les Miles. We created every day. We went and found a different obscure holiday that it was, and we just sent out one tweet that said, "Today is Hug a Rhinoceros Day." So if you know a rhinoceros or love someone who might enjoy hanging out with rhinoceroses, today is your day. It's not
World Chimpanzee Day.
Exactly. It's not a staple something on your face day. That's a different day entirely. And that was the form. We sent out a tweet every day, and he reached out to us and was like, okay, that's really good. I said, thank you. I feel really good about that. Are we done? Can we go home?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks today to Ryan Eckley, Jacob
Scooble's hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess that doesn't matter to us.
Jacob Calvin Meyer, and to Patrick Stevens. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the.
It's gonna be. Oh, it's Barack Obama's on.
It's gonna be May. It actually already is, Griffin.
Barack Obama's on Colbert tonight.
Just him?
Just him.
I don't know if I
Barack
go to
Obama.
that tour.
He's
You
just
got to
Barack.
know who the
Barack.
opener is. Like, I got to know.
There's no other really.
I don't know if
good
it's
ones.
if that alone is enough to get me to that tour. Now if it was like Barack Obama and Patrick Schwarzenegger, all right, now we're talking. Like,
Maybe there'll be a surprise guest.
Barack Obama and Meek, I might be in. Barack Obama and trying to think of somebody more random than that. Rip Torn, yeah, now we're talking. But just him.
He's getting his last show is the 21st for Colbert. So I guess that's why
Oh,
he's
they're
getting all,
bringing
he's
up the
getting
heavy
all those,
hitters.
Yeah, he's getting all the good guests.
All right.
No, that's why.
Just in time to be gone.
Yeah.
All right. Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program, Buster Olney scheduled to join us. And
Drew will be here.
Oh, God. All right. Great.
I'm sure we'll have Drew dive into his Orioles random.
Sure.
We can match.
Yeah, Mike Bordy. Sure. All right. Thanks, everybody at Pressbox. All of our great sponsors and partners, including Costas Inn, Baltimore area High's Dairy Stores, Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, 1-800-GAMBLER, and HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Baltimore Orioles, Cruise, Maryland, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, and BuyAToyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Tuesday evening. For the love of God, go Birds, go Towson or Maryland baseball. Duke sucks.